I've already accepted that we're getting beat off of Villa. To be honest with you. Yeah, listen, we just got to be honest with ourselves. That's where we're at. I don't see us beating Everton either. I think we'll beat Leicester. I think we'll beat Salford. And I think we'll beat West Ham. So I do think, actually, after these next 2 games, we'll win 3 games on the bounce. And then the January transfer window opens as well. Yeah, so hopefully we can beat Leicester, beat Salford, and then hopefully beat West Ham as well. That's 3 games on the bounce. And we can maybe then we'll buy a new player early in the transfer window, get a little bit of fresh life in there. But I have no confidence in the game against Aston Villa. I mean, they have Morgan Rodgers, they have quick players. That's our kryptonite. I think Everton will be a low-scoring draw or a 0-0. I think they'll just come and park the bus and they'll do what they did to, they've got all the confidence in the world to do what they did at Emirates now because they got a result out of it. They'll come to City and do that. I think that'll be 0-0 or 1-1. That'll be 2 more games without wins. But then I actually do see some light at the end of the tunnel. I think we'll beat Leicester and then win our next 2 games. And we need to buy some players. I'd love Bruno from Newcastle. I think he's exactly what we need. A bit of energy, a bit of someone who can win tackles, decent on the ball. Yeah, can play through balls. I was checking the Premier League website this morning. He's 5th, I think, this season. Most through balls in the Premier League this year. He wins duels. He has some physicality in there. And that's what we should have done in the first place. So what we did is we went and bought the cheap options. Cheap options, no good, mate. Yeah, I'd say cheap. They weren't even that cheap. We bought Phillips for 40 million.
You bought Paulie.
Yeah, we bought Paulie. We bought Phillips at 40 billion. Never good enough. I said this at the time. Never good. We bought Nunes.
Yeah, man.
Nunes.
That's a lot. That was a
Not
lot.
Good enough. That's 90 million quid. We should have just spent 100 million and got the right player. This is why I don't mind when, when people talk about money. I don't get why people speak about money all the time because it's not your money. It's not coming out of your pocket. Yeah, go out the club's pocket, right? And now some people say, well, we pay the season ticket, right? Whatever, right? You paid £1,000, £1,500 for a season ticket. We're talking 100 million quid here. Yeah, this is why Arsenal last year were absolutely correct to buy Declan Rice. This is why Chelsea were absolutely correct to buy Caicedo. Why? Because they're the 2 best players, 2 of the best players in that position. Why? Because they cost that much money. That's why they cost the money. What did we went for the cheaper option because we tried to be smart. Oh, we'll go for Nunes at 40, 50 mil. We'll go for Phillips at 40 mil. There's a reason they're 40 mil. Because they're just not that good.
How many teams are
It's not rocket science how this game works. You buy the best players, you win stuff. Oh, Chelsea spent 1.5 billion and now they're in a title race. Shock horror.
How many teams have gone on this run though? Like, how many of the top 5 teams, let's say, have ever done this run? This is like a madness. I've never seen it must have happened, but I've never seen a top team go like 12 games, whatever it is.
I've been looking into it, right? So Man United only won 2 of 10 in the 01-02 season, but we won 2 of them. I think we drew 5 or 6. So there was very few defeats in it, but there was an underlying factor in that Fergie had announced his retirement. So if Pep 2 months ago said I was retiring and this happened, I think City fans would be annoyed, but you'd all know what the underlying issue was. Fergie then, towards the end of that run of bad games, reversed his decision. I think we went on to win 6, 7, 8, 9 on the bounce. We still finished 3rd that season. And again, we went back to being competitive. It's harder to go back post-Premier League because there isn't the websites, there isn't the data out there. But I've never seen a defending I don't know if I've ever seen a defending champion this poor. You've got Chelsea, when Jose got sacked the year after winning the league, as an example, that I don't know if they've had a run that was this bad. They were very, very poor, though, as an example. But it's been very few and far between that we've ever seen a kind of run as bad as this. And I think I've defended Pep in the sense of anyone trying to undo Pep's legacy. Ridiculous. You're going to lose a debate because you're going too far. But the one thing I don't agree with the likes of Gary Neville is that no criticism should go towards Pep, because I still think, example will be Carl Walker as a standout. Most City fans I listen to, LB's one of them, he's done, finished, don't play him. Put an academy player in that position. You're either going to be as bad or better, but at least you're trying something different. And I do look at Pep and I think the thing that's been leveled against Pep for many years is, can he do it? Can his system work? Can he be successful or even competitive when he's missing 2 or 3 key players or a few people are slightly over the hill. And the reason I say that is when you look at Sir Alex, who he's compared against in his final season, the 2013 winners, we had the likes of Giggs and Scholes, and we had the likes of Rio and Vidic, who were on their last legs. And yes, we weren't up against a team as good as what this peak City team has been, but we still got about 85 points in the league. You've still got to beat what's around you. So that's why I look at it and go, there are definite reasons to look at why the squad isn't performing, bloatedness, etc. But I don't think these things should just be outright excuses. Our Pep doesn't need to be criticised whatsoever because he's been so successful. And the reason I say that is I remember other great managers in poor seasons being criticised and their CV not being an excuse for them. But at the same time, I'm balanced with it. I don't believe in people that are trying to undo Pep's qualities and act like this doesn't mean he hasn't been a great manager. I think those conversations do need balance, personally.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you got to remember as well, we won the league with no striker. We won the league with a 33, 34-year-old Fernandinho at the back. You know, he has adapted and he's rebuilt this squad from the first. If you look at the first title win, how many players from that first title win are in this team now? Not a lot. So we have definitely rebuilt. But listen, I think there's room for criticism for everyone. There's room for criticism on Pep. Of course, I think he's made mistakes during this run, but I don't think that's the main issue. His main issue, Pep, is in the summer when he said he didn't want any more players. So he's to blame there. I think the players are to blame because they're not performing to the level that we know they can do. Tiki, the sporting director, what are you doing? You've had 2 horrific transfer windows. He's at fault. I think Khaldoon, as the chairman, who oversees the club, who oversees what's going on, why is he not asking questions? You know what I mean? Why is he looking at the Tiki and saying, why are we not improving this squad since the treble year? We're only going to go downhill. Why have you got half the squad over the age of 30? Do you know what I mean? What is going on? So I think this criticism needs to be spread around. It's very rare that one person is at fault for everything that's gone on.
No, I agree. You guys have been a fantastically run club for the better part of a decade. Sometimes you don't know when mistakes are being made until the end result, though, right? You know, it's like cooking dinner sometimes. Sometimes food can look nice, you taste it and you go, Jesus Christ, what's going on, right? And you go back to, say, the summer of 2001. This is euros from Transfermarkt, but 117 million euros on Grealish. Not good enough as an example. You bought Julian Alvarez for 21 million that January that season, but he's already gone. Shouldn't have probably let him go that replacement. See, Haaland, brilliant buy, 60 million euros. But then Calvin Phillips, 49 million. Nowhere near the standard as an example. The following year, Guardiola, look, he's been very good for you. He's still very young.
He's a good signing.
I would say he's a good signing too. But then 62 million on Nunez, nowhere near good enough. 60 million on Doku. I don't think so far the output has been good enough. And then he spent 29 million on Kovacic. Good squad player. I think in the modern day era, good squad player, 21 million pounds, pretty decent. And then this summer, of course, you barely spent any money. Savio has nowhere near replicated what he was doing at Girona. In fact, Girona haven't replicated what Girona were doing last year. I know they lost a few players. And sometimes you can get caught out by that. Do you remember when that Monaco team were brilliant? And of course, you had Mbappe that came out of it, but you also had the Bakayokos of this world. There's sometimes some bad players in those really good teams that kind of shoot up out of nowhere. You just look at the recruitment now. When you work backward with hindsight, you realize that hundreds of millions of pounds have been wasted. You've actually had summers that are more akin to Man United in the last decade as opposed to Manchester City. And the one thing I would say is your owner, heads, I mean, Tiki's already going, but heads are going to roll. There's no way behind the scenes everyone's just, it's okay, we won 4 on the bounce, this is acceptable. The standards are too high at Manchester City to just do that. So yeah, I expect a massive January and a massive summer. And obviously you've got new blood in now, looking at talent and everything else. I expect to see your squad improve dramatically, but also very quickly as well.
And we need to be buying quality. We can't be buying squad rotational players. Yeah,
agree.
We need to be buying quality. So if you look at the treble season, right? When I talk about serious ballers, yeah, I'm looking at Edison, Walker, Diaz, Ake, Stones, Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Haaland, yeah, as serious ballers in the treble year. Now I'm looking at serious ballers as Diaz, Gvardiol, Rodri, Foden, and Haaland. 5. Because De Bruyne's going and he's old. Who else is there? So we've gone from what, 11 ballers to 5.
But this is where when it comes to the rebuild conversation. Now, I'm not trying to catch City fans out or try and throw a snide dig at Pep. I've always felt that there's a fundamental difference between having a very good squad, and he did inherit a good squad, very good squad. It won the league a year before I think that he arrived, and adding to that and making it better and better and better. But when the star players you've added are young, and that star group almost remains your core throughout a 5, 6, 7, 8 year period, which it did. For instance, being like, if you look at Sir Alex's first team that won everything, there was a older core to it that had like the Andy Coles of this world as an example, and the Yap Stams and everything else. And then it's in the second half of his time at the club, the Giggses and the Scholeses and the Nevilles that were the youngsters to begin with, they then became the core group. This is the first time at City that Pep's elder statesman, his core, his world-class talent that you typically, it's hard to replace. That squad players can get to 28 and you go, do you know what? There's a 21-year-old over there I think we can bring in now. When you're as good as KDB at 28, it's almost, do we start phasing him out now for this 21-year-old that might be better in 3 years? Or do we stick with KDB? So everyone has a different view on what a rebuild is. And it's a bit like the world-class conversation. This is City you've never been through this as a club before, but it's happened to loads of, and this is what, again, I see this as a compliment. You're one of a very small group of great English sides. Liverpool have had a couple. Man United have had 2 or 3. You could probably put Nottingham Forest back-to-back Champions League winning team into that. Maybe Chelsea have had a great side, the Jose one, but maybe not. They didn't win a European Cup. It's a finite commodity to be one of the greatest English teams of all time. But they've all gone through the same pain when that core group of players has aged out. Every single one of them has then hit problematic times. And what you don't want to do is what, United did in the 70s and Liverpool did in the 90s. You need to go out and get that quality now, strike quality, because 1 year can become 2, 3, 4, 5 at the same time. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to watch what City do now. And of course, as a rival, I'm hoping for your downfall and you get it wrong again and again. But it's going to be intriguing to see how quickly this team can be rebuilt. Some great teams are, some are not, and it's going to be intriguing to see the way it goes. To be fair,